Most of us, job seekers, current employees, CEOs, at the time we entered into the work scene first, or as a newbie in the working scene, the first week from let's say if you were home idling about or just taking a rest, the first week of your working day, I'm sure it has passed through the minds of most of you that I don't think I can cope. Especially if you are not doing something you love. I'm sure those who do things they love, or who are engaged in jobs they love, do not experience this much. But the average employee, CEO, or boss would have had this thought running through their minds. Am I working my life away? This is the topic we are going to I'm going to talk about in this series of Life After Work. Stay tuned. Have you noticed that depending on the kind of work you do will determine the respect you would get from people? Yeah. Imagine, go to I'm sure you have experienced this, but when you go to most gatherings, especially corporate gatherings, you see the respect they give to people deemed of higher ranking than workers who are just, I don't know how to put it, but down at the corporate ladder. And this emphasis on work is eating away at our personal lives, making us not to enjoy our life after work. So in reality, people measure your success based on the work you do. So imagine this, 40 hours a day, 48 weeks a year, and you work for how many years? Let's say till you are retiring. How many of your years are you going to spend on your work, huddled behind your desk? Is it something that you want to continue doing, or you want to have a more meaningful life which doesn't revolve around your work? If you are lucky and you have a fulfilling job, good for you. That is what psychologists term as the flow, because you flow into your working environment. You don't really feel the stress that the normal, that's, let's say, a person who doesn't enjoy their job usually encounters. And imagine, you see, because of our working experience and because of the working environment, our lives end up becoming narrow and constricted, because you wake up, you go to work, you come back home, you're too tired to do anything, you probably end up sleeping behind the TV. And consider doing this for a number of years, you end up having a family, you don't even have time to spend with your family. There are ways to do that, but then the emphasis here is there is just too much focus on the kind of work you do, the number of hours you have, or the number of hours you spend at work daily. Working in itself is a modern activity. As far as, you know, in the olden days it was more of hunters and gatherers. And it will surprise you, because according to anthropologists, the hunters and gatherers, especially the gatherers, did not spend much time looking for food. They spent an average of 4 hours a day looking for food, and the rest of the time was leisure time, family time, enjoyment, right? And, you know, shielding from potential dangers and all that. The working started when hunters and gatherers decided to start growing their food, and gradually led to the Industrial Revolution. If you think about it, our current working condition mimics the Industrial Revolution, where your output was measured per the produce you came up with at the end of the day. So, just like the Industrial Revolution, workers were expected to work very early and close very late, with little pay. So now I'm sure you are wondering, so what is the alternative? Because ultimately, without working hard and without working for long hours, economies will collapse, right? It's not necessarily the case, because in most parts of Europe, they actually have shorter working time. And countries like Holland and Denmark are actually economically stable than the UK, US, and African countries. So it's not necessarily, and if you come to think of, if you go to look at it from the economic point of view, India and China are one of the big producers right now. Earth is currently struggling under the strain of these pollutants. So in the next generation, or in the next few years, we would have to cut down on a lot of these produce, which in itself are even luxuries. And these countries that exude less economic activities would most likely be able to switch and transition from a period where everyone is a consumer good for luxuries instead of necessities. So just like my opening statement was, are you working your life away? Are you working your life away? Because from the few things I have mentioned, regardless of whether you are a businessman or a financial analyst, you are still practically living in the industrial revolution age, because your worth is measured by the products or what you produce. So what are some of the things to note, or some of the things you can use to analyze your life to know whether you are wasting your life away through working? Most people realize later that the energy and the enthusiasm they used to start their work is no more there after a couple of years. So I'm going to outline these signs so that you take a look at your personal life, your working life right now, and even your personal life also. And these steps or these signs will let you know if you are wasting your life away through your work or even through your personal life. First of all, good enough has become the new standard for you. If you are currently at a working place where you feel like, if I quit now, there's nothing else for me to look forward to, you are content with the little you are gaining, you are just passing through the working phase as let me just get this done with, this life after all, right? But then there's more to life than just working day to day without having meaningful time, even to be alone. There are some people, there are some people who would prefer to be with friends and family. There are also some people who would even want to be alone. But because of the working time and because of how busy our life schedule has become due to this modern era, even the time to be alone has been robbed of us. So think about this. Has good enough become your status? Do you look at your job and say, well, I'm not earning much, but it's good enough? If that is you, it's time to reevaluate your life. Probably you need something exciting to spice up and to let you transition into a job you've always wanted to do, or to even undertake that vacation you've been putting away. The second point is, if you think your work is the only thing that matters, right? This kind of relates to the first one, because first of all you think, well, it's good enough, and then there are some people. The second point highlights the fact that there are some people whose life revolves around work. And in my previous series, which if you go back to check, you would see, in my previous series you realize that we talked about the fact that people didn't have time to hang out with family and friends no more, because their life is revolved around work, sorry. And if that is you, some people live and breathe their work. If it's fulfilling and you actually enjoy doing it, why not? Whatever makes you happy. But if you commute to work daily and you sit at a place you not only hate but you don't enjoy doing the activities, then it's time to review your life. The third point is, you are always chasing after the new toy. You see, I've initially talked about the luxury stuff and how Earth is already cringing under the weight of the pollution we are releasing into the environment because of these productions, right? So if you are always chasing the latest toy, it could be a reflection of the fact that you are trying to fill that empty void or that unhappiness with luxury. So chasing after the latest gadgets is not necessarily bad, but if you constantly do that, looking out for the new updates, it could be a sign that you are yearning for some activity in your life, So if you're always chasing after the new toy, regardless of whether you even have the money, some even borrow money to get the latest gadgets. If that is you, then probably you have to analyze what is going on in your life. You probably are unhappy, and the new gadgets you feel will fill that void of emptiness. Also, another indicator that you are probably wasting your life away is when television becomes your best friend. You see, because of the working schedule, you go home, the only thing you can do is to watch TV. You don't even have the time. I know like several families, they just sit down right after eating, they sit down and then the parents doze off, leaving the kids. There's no time for interaction because both parents are tired. They don't have time to interact with their children and family members. If television is your best friend, then it's time to go out or have some time alone. You can even read a book, something that excites you. And I would say this, and there's no shade, but we don't want to die alone. We are social creatures. Regardless of, sometimes this isolation and this work back and forth leads to some psychological issues like depression, and that is why it's the leading cause of psychological issues nowadays, because we need that closeness and social comfort. And now even social media has come to take, but it has taken away that physical contact, that physical touch. So if television is your best friend, then it might be a sign. The next point is you often escape to a fantasy land. You often think about where you could have been, what you could have done. It's a sign that you are wasting your life away, because you are thinking of, I have this ability, I should have done this. But then you are seated at a job you don't like, with a boss breathing down your neck, and you can't help but fantasize about who you could have been and what you could have done. So that's another sign. Also, another sign is you always have a reason not to take action. For instance, you go for a program, let's say a workshop, that is totally unrelated to the workplace. Let's say you go for a bidding or a crafts workshop, or you go for something you truly enjoy. You even enjoy a book club. Because of your working schedule, your life practically revolves around this busy schedule. So then you always find reasons not to do certain things. I'm too tired to go to the book club, though you really enjoy it. So those are the points to let you know if you're wasting your life away. In the next series, we'll talk about how to get out of that work environment, get some sunshine, enjoy life. If you want to read a book by yourself, it's fine. If you need to find ways of engaging in new activities, hanging out with friends and families, and to live a more fulfilling life, then the next series will tackle that. Thank you for the attention, and don't forget to subscribe and like the page. My name is Chimsa, and see you in the next series of Life After Work.